Oh,
you
I'm
know,
cutting all this out. This is not making it.
No.
Nobody should ever know this.
you're the idiot that stays in there and wants to keep working for a company that treats you like shit. I don't blame the company. I blame your dumb ass.
No, I get it. That's why I started a OnlyFans with my feet. So I get it.
You're spending like the majority of your day in a place with these people and so on and so forth, and the only driver for you is money.
Oh, now we're getting dark, guys. Come on. Jesus.
Well, it's reality.
That shit.
Real
Yeah.
life can be dark.
You know, somebody had to pitch the Special Olympics. Like, think about that. Somebody had to be the first guy. Like, we're gonna race them. Like,
So I mean, life is a bunch of gray. It's not black or white. And I want to say this. I just want to say this. I don't want the audience to misconstrue that this type of thinking doesn't have sympathy behind it.
But responsibility is your ability to respond. So it's
you
always
hear
your
that, single moms?
responsibility.
Your fault. It's your fault for having that kid. You shouldn't have had that kid. I said this conversation took such a turn.
It didn't. This is real. This is the mindset. We talk about mindset on these easy topics, but these topics is like where it really makes a difference.
Hey guys, Jason Moreno here, and this is episode 74 of Mindset U. I have no idea what the topic is, but I'm sure Rance is going to tell us in the next few seconds. I have Moses next to me, aka Moody Mo. Oh, by the way, Punchline Jay, how's everybody doing? And then on the bottom over here, we have Rancis, aka Mr. Roboto, Robo Rancis, and any other derogatory name I can think about calling a computer. That's what we're gonna call Rancis. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and find us anywhere that you could listen to podcasts. Watch us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, and the VidaProject.com website.
Mo, you've started a new path, right? In addition to VidaProject, you're starting a new path which is outside of what you've done for that path, or actually your whole life, right? Because education is not necessarily corporate world. Now you're in the corporate world. And first of all, I want to talk about a little bit of you and that experience, how you feel about it, and how your mindset is impacting your ability to join that culture.
So I mean, it's definitely been a very interesting, and I would say that I am having some type of identity. I wouldn't say crisis, but like there is a shift because it's not it's not the industry that it's in, because it's in the dental industry. It's not what I identify as or somebody that makes an impact in. So my whole life has been in education. So sometimes I catch myself like working in the middle of the day, and I have like this disassociative state where I feel like I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? And
paid, baby.
Yeah. I mean, I think about it that way too, but
Yeah,
it's like it almost feels against like everything that I stand for, right? So one of the things that I'm struggling with is, did I give up on my dream? Did I give up on this career? Like this guy who's told the story of, hey, you quit your job, education for 10 plus years. You left everything to go build this thing, and you still haven't done it. And now you got a job again. And that shit fucks with my head.
Yeah.
Welcome to being an adult, though. It's like, like I hear you, but also at the same time, it's the same thing. Stop being a bitch. You gotta do what you gotta do, baby. Make that cheddar.
I'm not complaining about it, because
I know.
I have the other side of it where it's okay. There are skills that I'm missing in order to build that, to reach that mission or to reach that dream. There are certain things that I'm missing, and I think there are certain ways that you can get it. One way is by like going to school, right? Paying for an education. Another way is by getting a mentor. Another way is by staying in the trenches for another, 10 plus years and taking all the failures and learning from it, and then finally getting there. My approach to this is, okay, I'm going to challenge myself with people who know more than me, who have better skills than I do, in what I'm trying to do, and I'm going to go to school and get paid for it at the same time.
That's a good way to look at it. Here's my question for you though. Are you replacing, like, I mean, I don't know if you're gonna ever be like, oh yeah, Rancis is kind of like my mentor, but like, how does it feel to replace him with his wife?
We were just talking about this. Rancis was my mentor at one point. Like,
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were ever gonna admit that Rancis was your mentor.
I
Okay.
won't deny that. I was a student at one point, I believe, and I learned a lot in those years, especially as a client, as a business partner in the beginning years. I do feel that now we are pretty equal in our abilities and, you know, our strengths, and we also have our weaknesses, but they complement each other. So I do believe that about Rancis and my partnerships. I will say that Paola has a different skill set, that aligns more with what I do, which is interesting because I have other perspectives of how to do what I do that I believe I'm good at, and then I'm learning from Paola how to do it better. So that's been pretty interesting to see.
Just to fill in the audience on what we're talking about right now. So the job that Moses got is he's actually working with my wife now. Paola is your corporate overlord.
Yeah, she's my boss.
You know, the funny thing is, because you say that, right, Paola, like, is like you mentioned, our relationship is like we complement each other in that sense, and you and Paola, you have the similarity. And I've always joked that you know, you're my work wife and Paola's my home wife, because you guys are the same person in so many ways. Like the way you see things, the way you react to things is so similar. So that's super interesting that you say that.
Yeah,
so
no,
you admit that she's the better version of you.
Yeah, right now I would say that in this industry, yes. I will say that right now. Give me like 6 months.
He's such a competitive little fuck. I love it. I love how competitive Moses is. Like, you know that he was an athlete because he's like, right now she's better, but watch.
6 months, bro.
But that's another like thing that they're very similar. That's exactly what Paola would say. You know, that she's very competitive.
Yeah.
So it's good when the two competitive people are on your team because they're making sure the W comes over here.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. That's something that I mean, Paola's really, I'm not even on front. She's amazing at what she does. Right? Like everybody acknowledges it. Like she's the best. And I can see it. I can see why. She's just a great leader. She cares about everybody. And I'm sure those are things that she pulled from Rancis too. Like the people aspect. She is very intelligent with the business and the operations and the numbers, and I think that's something that like I don't have those skills, at least not with those numbers, right? So if I think about what Rancis and I are trying to do, the company that we're trying to build, and the mission that we're on, those require big numbers. They require big money, and if you're not used to seeing those things, right? If you're at where VidaProject was at for most of the part, where it's just like, you know, it's maybe $100,000 in revenue per year. You're not used to 1.5 million, 2.3 million, right? Like seeing those numbers and saying like, oh, how do I make a decision with $2.3 million? Versus like Rancis and I making a decision like, I wonder if we should cancel our subscription to Adobe so that we can save our $20 a month, right? Like it's very different. And in order to challenge yourself and understand what is capable, you have to hang around people that are doing those things, right? Who are playing with the big numbers, who making big decisions. And just in the 2 weeks, man, I feel like I just got like 10 times smarter. My definition of work capacity has completely changed.
Oh
God, you're gonna be unbearable.
I have a question.
Going Super Saiyan, bro.
God,
I have a question.
See his head getting bigger.
To the mindset and like connecting to the mindset and like segueing to that. So, do you feel like this is for the money? Like, do you feel like you said it's an industry and so on and so forth? Is that why you're doing this? Is for the money and the learning?
I think it's both. I'm not gonna front, man. Like, I've been broke for a while. You know, I slept on the floor of the business. Like, you know, it was like consciously homeless for a long time, and I think it's time to let that go. Like it doesn't have to be fucking hard to make something. Like a story doesn't have to be this like, oh, he slept on the floor for like 5 years of his life and then he became a millionaire. Like I had to let go of that like glorified fucking story. And it's like,
It's
why?
romanticized.
Yeah, it's romanticized. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like why?
God damn it, Will Smith.
Yeah. So why don't I just like make money and do it at the same time? That'd be pretty cool too. Like, he
It's
worked
nice.
a full-time job and built a multi-million-dollar company. Like, why not? That's cool.
Mhm.
And there are people that have already done it. So like, yes, it is about the money. One, I don't think it's my number one reason. I think my number one reason is to be challenged and to develop skills. My number two reason is like, yeah, I'm going to be making paper.
Yeah. No, I get it. That's why I started a OnlyFans with my feet. So I get it.
So, Mo, quick question on that note is that I just got an image of Jay's feet. Fucking
Yeah, why do you
gross.
think I get it? Why do you think every 2 weeks I get a manicure?
He records while he's doing footwork in the ring.
I do.
Barefoot.
I do. It's awesome. It's a good time.
So, this is interesting because I was having a conversation with a business owner, right? And one of the things that he said when he's looking to hire someone, he said about the money. Like, if you have an employee that you're hiring that's just for the money, they're just here to collect a check. Like, I don't want them, right? So, how do you think that applies or doesn't apply to your situation?
Wait, time out. Before you answer that, I fucking hate guys like that, number one, because people need fucking money. Like, it's a job.
Mhm.
Like, I get the whole idea, like, no, it needs to be more. Or like when companies like, we're a family. No, fuck you. You pay me so I can go live and fucking not struggle. That's the whole point of
Mhm.
working. So I hate that whole thing where it's like, oh, they're just doing this. Yes. And I'm going to do a great job because you're paying me a certain amount of money. Like, I hate that whole entrepreneur mindset thing on that aspect. It drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
I think that's a good topic to go into. Go ahead, let's hear it, Mo.
There's part of me that agrees with Jay, but there's the other side of me that also understands from an entrepreneurial perspective that you want people who care about your company.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. That's my responsibility as an entrepreneur. How do I create that environment? How do I create that culture to one, make sure people are able to survive, right? Make the monies that they need to live a comfortable life. And to also make them feel that they're a part of something bigger. I think great leaders do that. And I want to be able to do that. Right? I think Rancis and I were successful in being able to provide a culture that made people feel like they were a part of something bigger. The part that I didn't learn, right, was, all right, how do I get the monies to pay these people so that they stay? Right. And that's the reality, right? We had something good going at VidaProject, and I loved working with everybody. I learned a lot as a leader. I made a shitload of mistakes that I'm glad I made it there and not in this position, because I probably would have gotten fired at like the third week for my like assholeness. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. But I don't think that responsibility falls on the employee. I think it falls on the leader of business.
I respect that.
Mm-hmm. I think I want to kind of segue into that what Jay said. I don't know if that's the topic for the other episode, but if like you hate that in terms of like we're a family, all that stuff, and I kind of heard that constantly. But like the way I see it is like you're spending like the majority of your day in a place with these people and so on and so forth, and the only driver for you is money, so you can get home right away. Like that doesn't make sense.
So
either.
it's called commerce, right? You pay me to do the job that you're providing, right? So yes, sure. Do I want to get along with everybody at the job? Of course I do, right? But the reason why I'm here is because you're paying me.
I got a question.
Okay.
So the reason that you're on this podcast is that we paying you?
No, because I fucking love you guys, but you guys aren't entrepreneurs. It's different. It's different. I'm talking about from a corporate standpoint where somebody's like, and when I'm hiring somebody, not or am I doing a podcast with two pretty much my favorite people that I fucking know. That's different. I'm talking about when
what
I
happens if
go.
your favorite people were in charge of that business that you work in, that company?
Are you guys gonna go? Are you only gonna take this job because they're paying you? I'm gonna go, yes, because I was getting paid at my other job and I need to get paid at this job to fucking do it. So yes, that's a big reason why I want this job, is because you're gonna pay me so I can do the job that you're asking me to do. And if you pay me more, I'll even do it better. If there's incentive to grow.
Here's what I'm hearing, James. Like that the financial aspect needs to be provided, right? As a baseline. That's what you're saying. But now let's say the financial aspect is provided. And then on top of that, like there's that culture community aspect that's being developed too.
I'm
Are
all
you still
for
like,
that.
no, I don't.
No.
Okay.
I'm all for that. I'm all for. I just hate when people are like for example, I just go back to like the whole news thing, and they're like, "Oh, we're a family. Yeah, but you won't give me overtime. You'll give me a pizza party, thanks, but I won't get overtime."
Okay, so what you're saying is that that company wasn't authentic in what they were saying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I'm talking about like with big companies and stuff like that. We're like, oh, we're a family. I'm like, oh, are we? Because when I left my job, I never got a phone call from anybody of this fucking family that we're talking about to see if I was okay, or all this other shit. You know, when I worked overtime or I worked double shifts and stuff like that, what was that met with? Is oh, he could just do this all the time, kind of thing. So if this is a family, you guys are pretty not you guys, but they're pretty fucking abusive. Then this is a pretty fucked up family if that's the case.
Toxic family.
So it's, you know what I mean? I just think it's a bullshit way to get people to work for you sometimes.
So I love that because it kind of highlights something which, Mo, you can speak about this with the education industry, right? There's all these concepts that come out from like psychology and stuff like that is like become like the token phrase for the year. No one really understands it, but everyone throws it out, right? I kind of feel like what you're saying is it's similar to that. It's like these companies that just use these concepts like, yeah, we're family and so on and so forth, because it's the trendy thing to do. And it's a way to, from like the corporate perspective, is like, how do we get them to work more or use these trendy concepts?
Yeah.
You know, like for example, now like a lot of things are all about inclusion and all this stuff, right? So it's like, oh, they're trendy. That's why we're doing it, right? Because it's good for PR versus like
it's like
honesty, caring.
For example, let's use any type, if it's Black History Month or Pride Month, right? All of a sudden, every company has, you know, if it's Pride Month, there's a fucking black fist up, or, you know, there's like a African flag or some shit like that, right? Or even with Pride Month, everybody's like, oh, we're gay. And then once it's done, like, yeah, now we're not anymore. You know what I mean? Like they just use it for whatever the purpose is to get that product out. And then it's on to the next thing, you know? So I just think a lot of it, when it comes to big corporations and stuff like that, that's bullshit. You know,
so Mo, to switch it back to Mo, you just started this corporate job. Do you get that sense that it's like it's all corporate, it's all corporations, or is it like certain, like what do you get from this place that you're at?
My belief is that the reason
I don't want you to get fired.
No, I'm not gonna. No.
Oh wait, your boss.
I mean, you just made me think about it. Yeah.
Your boss.
No, but first, I don't get that vibe from the company I'm currently working with. I don't get that. My belief is also that it's based on middle management. I don't believe that a CEO who has 20,000 employees has that much control over it. Like you can have influence and you can have these campaigns and you can put training videos and all that, but it comes down to the people who are managing the people. So the leaders who are actually delegating the work and the task and creating the culture and environment below. Now, your job as a CEO is to constantly promote that on a smaller scale where, you know, for example, Rancis and I had 10 people with us. It's easy to do that because you see these people every day and it does feel like family. At 20,000 people, it doesn't feel that way, right? So, and this, like, if you look at the studies, the Navy SEALs, they always keep their teams to like 7 people. And its reason is because you can have, like, you become that close that, and the reason you want that is because you're in a dangerous environment. You want to kind of know how the people around you are going to behave and act, and how much can you trust them to be able to execute on a specific task that puts your life in danger. So the smaller something is, the easier it is to create that culture. The larger it gets, the more difficult it is. So I don't necessarily believe that corporations are just putting this mask on and trying to like say, hey, yeah, maybe some are, maybe some are. I don't know. Who gives a fuck?
Oh yeah, I mean it's just a blanketed statement.
Yeah, but I think it comes down to middle management.
Yeah.
It comes down to middle management, the people who are working on those teams, who are leading those teams. Are they developing the culture? And you know, so far, at least with your wife, Frances, she does an amazing job of creating that culture in the location that I'm at.
Now, how much of that is coming out of fear of Paola?
She's not scary, man. She's not scary. Nah, she's not scary.
Nah,
she's direct and stuff, but she's not scary. She's actually fucking hilarious. She's funny.
That she is. Paola
She is really
funny.
Yeah, she's funny and she's always laughing, and she does that, like creates that kind of work environment where people have fun. You know, even when things are a little stressful. You know, she has a relaxed kind of mindset to things. It's like, yep, it is what it is. You know, let's just do this, move forward. Period. Done. Kind of similar to me, but at the same time, you know, I might lose my shit here and there.
So Mo, is this job easy?
No. Hell no. Hell fucking no. It's not. I mean, it's the amount of information that I have to learn. So right now it feels really hard. It's just so much. It's a new industry, new things. I think I'm really fast at learning. And
okay, that's going to be my next question. What are the skill sets? You have a challenge in front of you, a hard job. What are the skill sets that'll help you, you know, in learning this job or have been helping you?
Just the learner's mindset. It's like I'm only gonna get better. If I care to do my job as best as possible, I'm only gonna get better. It's come in every single day, and you know, learn as much as I can, and then fail as much as I can, and then learn from it and move forward. Next day, same thing, until I'm able to make an impact. So, I think that's the only skill I need.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fair one.
Gotcha.
I think.
You think?
No, I'm saying I think it's a fair way to look at it. Sorry.
Were you there, or were you doing one of those like
No, I was there. He's like, it's a learner's mindset. All you can do is keep working hard. You're gonna fail, and then it's the next day you start over again, and you just keep going. It's life. I agree with that 110%. But fuck corporation. No. Sorry, I had a little bit to drink too. I'm feeling spicy today. Darren's birthday was awesome.
So going back and now circling back to the whole concept, because I think we're gonna tie it together here, is what Jay was talking about and like that corporate thing, and Moses was talking about like middle management. But is that all just like a trick, a ploy to get people to, you know, to slave harder? Or is it like real? Is it like that culture thing, that family idea, that
I think
camaraderie?
It's a gray area. I think it's a gray area because I mean, at the end of the day, you're using somebody to get something from them, kind of thing, right? Like, if it was a family, if I fucked up with, you know, so like, let's say I dropped a deal or something like that, right? Since we're a family, is it going to be okay, or am I going to get fired for fucking up this $1 million sale? Because if we were a family, you'd be like, Jay, that wasn't good. Now I'm going to put you on timeout, but you're not fired. A company could fire you for making a mistake. So is that a family?
Okay. So then the question goes like, is that what all these corporations do?
I have no fucking clue. I've only worked for like 2 corporations in my life. And they all are big media corporations that don't care about anybody aside from whatever you do for them.
So I like, if you're saying family, if I had somebody working for me that's my family and they continuously drop the ball and they're not learning something, I'm firing them.
Yeah.
I'm going to fire them regardless of it. I may not treat them differently like family. Like I might not be
Yeah.
like, oh, I hate you. You're sabotaging me. Whatever.
No, of course.
But the reality is if if someone's not able to execute on something, right, that meets the mission of the entity, then and they're trying and they give effort and they're not improving, they just don't have the competency or the capacity to do it, then they don't belong there. That's not the right job for them.
That's
And that's cool too.
understandable.
If they don't care and they're not trying to get better, then they don't
That's
belong there
different.
either. But
I
to
agree.
me, is if you're improving, if you're improving, you're trying, you're failing, and you're learning from those things, then why not give you a shot? Now, are there cultures that promote this like do or die attitude to these positions, and if you don't do it right, then you know they can you or whatever? Yeah. Do I agree with it? No. But
And
if
you
they're
see,
still in
here's
business, it may work for them.
but here's my thing. I'm not mad at those businesses that are cutthroat. I'm mad at those businesses that do this whole we're a family thing, and then they'll before like your severance packages are there, they'll fire you or some bullshit like that. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
when they do
Yeah.
shit like that, that's the stuff. Like if you're cutthroat, just be upfront and be cutthroat with me. I don't like that whole if we're cutthroat and I know you're cutthroat, awesome.
Yeah.
I know this is I know where I'm at with you kind of thing.
Yeah.
When it's like, no, Ohana, don't act like you're fucking Dom Toretto. And then fucking that's a Fast and Furious reference for you, Rancis. Because he's all about family.
My son just watched all 10 films in like a week.
Oh, how much dumber did he get? How much?
He would come up to me, tell me all the time, like, how? Why? Wait. And I'm like, Logan, you got to just turn it off. Turn it off and just go, oh. So, all right. So I wanted just to say one thing about that because believe it or not, I'm like in between. Like number one, like a family concept is like, yes, like we're supporting each other, encouraging each other and all that stuff. I also think of that family concept as like a tribe, right? Like,
yeah,
go to evolution. Like we're a tribe. We all depend on each other, right? So if someone doesn't care, someone's not putting in the effort, they're going to get us all killed. We need to get rid of them in whatever form we need to get rid of them, right?
I think it's different
like,
for small businesses than it is for when I think of the whole family thing, I don't think of like a small business. I understand that. I think with small business, you have to essentially be a family and it's like a tribe. And if they're not, holding up their end of the bargain, you got to fucking go, buddy. So like, yeah, I'm torn too. Now that I think about it, I was all fired up. I don't know anymore.
Well, like on the
emotional.
It's actually Mo mentioned the military, right? The Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
Right. 7 like Navy SEALs is a small group, and then there's they go out on missions in these small groups, right? And these small groups work together. I think it's the same idea because the military, like the Navy, for example, is huge. And the military as a whole is huge, right? And these are small groups within that entire system. I think it's the same thing. It can be the same thing for a corporate world, right? You take a segment that is like, all right, in this store, for example, or whatever, it's like, oh, we're family and so on and so forth. And you establish kind of that tribe Navy SEAL format is like, it still can work. As long as it's authentic, like that branch, right? That store that's operating like that family, then also will stand up to the rest of the organization of like, hey, they're trying to do something unfair to us. We're going to stand together, type of thing. That's when you kind of can see that. But when you're saying like the whole corporate family thing is like when it's like, 5,000 employees in this corner of America and we're family. It's like, you don't even know who your employees are. So that's BS. So I can agree with that side too.
Yeah. No, I get it. But also, like, if you're going to talk about the military, like, if they're such a family, ask how do they treat veterans?
I mean, yeah, company wide. But like when you talk to them, like even in a company, they have platoons, and platoons are the size of like, 8 people, 7 people. So it's more so creating that family within a company. And that's what makes us have the greatest military on the planet. Like that's just the truth. Other than that, we have a lot of money that goes into it too. And
we put so much money into it.
but we have one of the best trained personnel. And the reason is because the way that we structure our military. Now, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, not even close. But it gets the job done. And that's the way I see it. It's like you have these companies that exist. They found some way. Does it treat everybody the right way? No. But it gets the job done. Now, if you're the idiot that stays in there and wants to keep working for a company that treats you like shit, I don't blame the company. I blame your dumbass for not leaving.
Very Republican of you. I like it. I like
That's
it.
my Republican side. But
Trump 2024. I got it. I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. I'm with you. Guys, you can't see it, but there's a MAGA hat blurred out in the background of Moses' room.
Just for the record, I am not a Trump supporter. I'm not a
No,
Trump.
it's even worse. He likes DeSantis.
No. RFK, bro.
I think this is like the third time Moses has had to say, I'm not a Trump supporter in the podcast. What is this trend about, Mo?
No, but like, my belief is that ownership is 50-50, right? Like, I do believe corporate companies have ownership in the way that they treat people. I do believe that. But I also believe if you're the person working in there, and maybe, you don't have the mindset, you don't understand or have the awareness. I can understand that too. But if you're taking that much abuse, right, and you're still there, I mean, it's time to like go see a therapist or something. Like, why are you going to let people treat you that way?
Well, I mean, it depends.
It's 50-50 to me.
Yeah, but I mean, there's also variables to that though, because like, why am I there? Because I have fucking family. I have all these fucking things to pay. I can't afford to jump ship and figure my life out when I have all these things that need to be taken care of.
Absolutely. So and that's where I say go to VidaProject.com, hire Rancis or myself, and we'll give you the mindset to be able to get yourself a new job and make real money and be happy. Like,
get this kid a Trump hat right now.
No, but Jay,
Rancis
you
agrees
got
with me too a little bit.
Listen, Jay, I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't care about any of this.
Jay,
Nothing's real. Nothing's real.
Jay, you got defensive because that was like, you for years in that.
Oh, no, it's not. It's because I wasn't treated that bad. It wasn't like I was like, oh, man, everybody's so mean to me. Everybody's really nice to me. It's just that I hated myself working there. And I finally got the balls to fucking get up and leave after getting a mortgage. Because
you know where you were a part of, right? When you made that decision? VidaProject.
A family.
Yeah, you're part of VidaProject, bro.
I had a family, you see?
Exactly. So make sure VidaProject.com, everybody.
Yeah, you'll turn out just like me.
Cynical but happy.
Yeah, certain days.
So what are some key concepts that we can put in a neat bow here? Jay,
life is all gray and not black and white.
That's Moses' answer for everything.
Rancis loved it.
To tie this up in a neat bow, everything's your fault. Anything bad that happens to you is your fault, and it's up to you to get your bootstraps up and you fucking go and you be the best Republican you can be. Is that good, Mo? Do you love me now?
It's not everything is your fault. 50% of everything belongs to you.
Most of it's your fault.
You have ownership. You're empowered to make your own decisions. That's the Democratic way of saying that. Just letting you know.
That is true.
Here's how to make that make sense for everyone, in my opinion, is the responsibility concept. Is you have the responsibility, and it's slightly different than what we think of responsibility, because we can think of responsibility as ownership, like no, it's your fault, and so on and so forth, that negative side of it. But responsibility is your ability to respond. So when something shows up, how you respond to that is what you open up for the future. So if you respond with a negative and you say, hey, I have to do this is just the way it is, that's what you're inviting. If you respond with, no, I'm not going to allow this, I'm going to take a different direction, that's the future you're creating. So it's always
you hear that, single moms? Your fault. It's your fault for having that kid. You shouldn't have had that kid.
50%.
50%. 50% is your fault. Having that kid is that 50% right there. You should have never had him. You would have been much happier.
Or
Good job.
What if it's rape? I said, what if it's rape?
Oh, okay, now we're getting dark, guys. Come on. Jesus.
Well, it's reality.
That
Real
shit,
life can be dark.
I mean,
Well-
it's true. I mean, she didn't have control over that. So
then the other 50% is her fault, and the job's her fault, then, not the kid.
well, I would say that.
Oh, I'm
you know,
cutting all this out. This is not making it.
No.
Nobody should ever know this.
Well,
You know what's interesting? This is how a lot of the ideas, they come out for VidaProject and how we structured things. They come out from having these discussions and then diving deeper and challenging them. It's like, oh yeah, we have this neat little idea. Now let's just wreck it with all these crazy possibilities. And if it can withstand, then it's worthy. You know?
Yeah, if you think
I mean,
about it,
that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
That is how a lot of the concepts that we've generated,
That
we
makes sense,
tested
like-
in these like really crazy situations.
somebody had to pitch the Special Olympics. Like, think about that. Somebody had to be the first guy. Like, we're gonna race them. Like,
I actually saw that bit.
yeah, it's a Shane Gillis joke.
You showed me it.
Yeah, it's my
That's funny.
favorite. It's my favorite bit.
Anyway, she didn't have control over that situation. What she does have control after that is whether if she did get pregnant, is whether to have the child or not.
Depends
I
what state
believe-
you're in.
It could be like, again, there's so many different variables, but let's say that she has the ability to make a decision on whether she wants to have the child or not, right? Everything, the behavior of the child, all of the child, everything that happens after that, part of that is her decision, right? If she decided to have the child, if she has the ability to get an abortion, right? Part of that was her decision. Now, if she, like, I know now Republicans took abortion away in some states or whatever. If she's in that state and she can't get an abortion, then she did not have control over that. And that's not in her realm of control, which then I would say is not her fault, right? The rape is not her fault. The ability to get an abortion is not her fault.
So now this is where, like, the definition I mentioned before, responsibility. That's how it changes from like fault. We're not talking about fault. We're no longer talking about fault. We're talking about your ability to respond. You got rape. You have an ability to respond with that, right? Whatever happens, you have you're unable to evict the child, and you have to have you're still responding along the way. That's your ability, and that's where your power draws, because all those moments is that rape, that eviction, cancellation, all of that is you losing power, right? So in order for you to gain power is to recognize where you have the ability to respond to whatever situation is coming to. At that point, that's when you can start taking your decisions into action, as opposed to, letting it happen or continuing it as if there is no choice. You need to find basically where you can hitch your wagon, and then that's when you start driving with the steering wheel, as opposed to just letting it go. It's over already. Might as well just roll down the hill.
So, I mean, life is a bunch of gray. It's not black or white. And I want to say this. I just want to say this. I don't want the audience to misconstrue that this type of thinking doesn't have sympathy behind it. Because a lot of the times what I think happens is when we're like, no, it should be this one way, and this is the way that it should be, right? If someone gets raped, they should automatically get the abortion, or they should, whatever the rules are.
Such a turn.
What?
I said this conversation took such a turn.
It didn't. This is real. This is the mindset. We talk about mindset on these easy topics, but these topics is like where it really makes a difference in these hard topics. This is where it frees you from that trap.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to these types of conversations, sympathy sometimes gets in the way of like logical, empowering solutions that help people in different scenarios, because we don't know. We can assume that if a woman gets raped, that she's automatically going to get an abortion. We don't know that. It could be a religious woman that says, nope, this is God's plan, and I'm supposed to have this child. Right? Now what? Where is her opportunity to respond to her decisions? and then make the best life possible. And it's in that type of thinking.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I know, Jay, this scares you. You want to cut it out, but I think this is great.
Listen, if you guys want to leave this in, I will leave it in.
Leave it in. Leave it in. I say leave
Absolutely.
it in. Guys,
You heard it, guys.